Pedro, you looked at Chris Archer and his recent struggles, and you think you have found what's been ailing this youngster.
I'm not going to say I totally found what's ailing Archer right now, but it breaks my heart to see the kind of stuff he has, the kind of person he is, the kind of pitcher that he could be. And to me, it seems relatively simple, the adjustment he has to make. When you stop to look at him and you see where he separates the ball from the glove, it gives the batter a clear view of his hands. So all they have to do is track his hands and know the location where he's delivering the pitch or see the rotation on the ball. See? That's Machado against him. He has a lot of time to look at that arm and to look at that hand separating the glove. It means he's separating himself from the glove a little bit too far. That allows the hitter, and Scope is one kid that it looks to me like he's just looking at his hands. So he gets to see the slider early enough to actually put a good swing on it, especially if he's hanging. One other thing is, well, he's not getting up on top on time. And two good examples for him, everybody at home can watch this. This is Volkis and DeGrom, and look how little of a margin they have for Archer, to deliver the ball, to separate from the ball, and how long it is for Archer to actually, the batters to see the ball.
It's remarkable, John, because we're talking about just fractions of a second and just little tweaks in a mechanic or a delivery that can be the big difference.
Well, people don't understand. I mean, hitters go through it all the time, but again, 600 at-bats, they got a lot more opportunities to make the adjustments. A pitcher, if you don't have just unbelievable wipeout stuff, you have to rely on an athletic delivery. You have to have some form of deception, like he's talking about, that creates the hitter to not lock in on anything. Sometimes it's you give it away with your glove. Sometimes it's a mechanical funk coming out of your glove. Look, for Chris Archer, I felt like this is one of the most intellectually gifted and does everything that you want as a baseball player to do. I felt like in spring training, he put a lot on himself to be the leader, to do everything that David Price showed him. James Shields showed David Price. They were passing the torch to this young man. And I think subconsciously you try to think that I need to be a 20-game winner to be able to do these things.
And probably prematurely.
Right. And
because it's young.
I think what happens is it can translate into I'm trying to do so much that the next thing you know, you get out of whack a little bit. And that point that Pedro made is so key. Now, it might be just a little adjustment he needs to make with his hands, but the other thing is getting in a position to throw the best pitch. If you're open, and he's got a wipeout slider, he has, and right now it's a little flatter at times because you don't have anything to throw it against. The one luxury that I had, that he had, and I knew that my slider was going to break 100% away from a right-hander. Now, sometimes I didn't throw it exactly where I wanted to, but if you know it's going to break, you got to be doing something mechanically to allow that to happen. If it spins and goes the other way or flattens out, you're giving up a lot of home runs. And that's the biggest fear for a pitcher. When you make somebody as a right-handed hitter aware of your stuff and it gets flat or you're open and you don't create that torque, that's the pitch that gets hit a long way, and that's the pitch that has cost him this year. And part of that is with the hands getting out, and part of that is exactly what he saw, what we just saw. So to put a paintbrush on that, this kid's tried. And he is emotional, and you saw in those highlights how much he cares.
Yeah. He cares a lot about that. But it might be just bringing his hands a little bit closer to his body so that he can bring those hands back to the stripe of his pants and hide the ball a little bit, and also square himself up, like John says. Square off a little bit in a 45-degree angle so that all the hitter can see it's a short gap between the separation, and then you throw your glove, you throw your elbow, and you throw everything else, but the last thing you throw is this. And if they stop to look at this or do this, by the time you bring this, it's going to be too late at 97. And I think that's the little adjustment he needs to do. And I show DeGrom and I show Volkis because 80% of those pitchers that you see, Kershaw and everybody, they come up really close, and they go back to hide the ball.
Yeah.
But Archer is really far, especially here. And that's another thing that leads Archer to actually open up.
Yeah.
So what he does is that he exposes the ball really early, and the hitters can pick it up.
Well, if you're a Rays fan or you know Chris Archer, send him this tape.
Well, his pitching coach is probably going to pick up everything.
Well, you would
he's saying.
think. By the way, he's due to pitch Wednesday at Coors Field. So
I hope he does well.